YouTube is happy. Twitch appears happy. That should mean start time. Yes, let us do this. Good evening. It is a Thursday night. I am a screaming wyvern. That means that it is time for Thursday's solo role playing games. And this week, I am again sharing Shouting Crow Games' Hedge, which, in addition to be a lovely game, left me with emotions. Emotions that made me think I should go ahead and give it another try immediately, to see if I can get a slightly more desirable outcome. So let's go ahead and quickly go through what truly matters in life, being the fact that I call myself Wyvern because, like a dragon, I hoard role playing games, but I am also unbalanced and slightly toxic, or at least that's what modern America seems to be telling me, because right now, the thing that would probably give most people the ick is the fact that 2 weeks ago, I actually had my wife take me out to buy a vacuum cleaner, and I was so excited. This is the level of horrific toxicity that you should come to expect from someone who wears a Protect Trans Kids shirt every single Thursday. I am thinking we'll go ahead and flip open the game screen. So, I am going to go ahead and explain the whole story again, even though I did that last week, just in case I decide to actually get around to editing. The existence of two videos on my YouTube channel does prove that I am capable of editing. I just need to stop finding excuses not to, theoretically. Um. So yeah, this is Head Witch by Justin Vandermeer. The character sheet, as you can see, I've recreated it in Google Sheets over on the side there. Except for the portrait, which I've just moved to the bottom corner of the screen here. It's the one that looks like me. So let's go ahead. We'll start off with um oh, that's interesting. I just noticed something. Hold on. This is interesting. There was a note at the bottom of one of the pages that I didn't see last week, which makes me wonder. Um, Okay, so if we go back through here really quickly, um, when I cast my sixth spell, I did have the option um to get six more. Yeah, restore my depleted magic. So I did have the option to frankly make things even worse than they were. Um, because I had the option of performing a ritual, which would have given me back the ability to cast spells. Um, but by doing that, I would have lost at least three of my successes. And the final score is based on how many successes you have, uh, primarily based on clever solutions and brave solutions, and using magic to deal with a situation. Um, Basically means that you don't get the opportunity to ever learn from your choices. So um, that would that would have actually made things devastating for me. So I'm glad that I overlooked that. Okay, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and play this as though it's the first time, but I'm also going to explain tons of stuff, assuming this wasn't. Okay, so last week I had allowed the narrator. I mean, seriously, if this game appeals to anyone who finds this video, for God's sake, pick it up, because in addition to just being beautifully put together, um, the entire book has a flawlessly narrated audiobook version. So I can't recommend this one highly enough. The story behind it is fantastic. The actual concept is fantastic. It's I'm kind of there is a system reference, a role playing system called Wretched and Alone, um, and it kind of feels like that one where um, you're journaling about trying to achieve something important, despite the odds against you, and that's what the cog that remains was, which was the first solo role playing game I did, which you know, I played it again the next week, not because I had such a great time, but because, which I did. Don't get me wrong, but because it emotionally rattled me. And that's kind of what happened with Hedge last week. So, um, the long story short is that I play as a hedge witch who had a mentor, Samantha Heddy, um, and she is properly able to use magic to a level that I don't accept. It's not really magic that she has access to. It's just she has a level of charisma um, that the forest adores, basically. Um, and then she vanished, and um, nobody knows where or why. Um, and you have to assume that she's coming back because otherwise that would be devastating for you and for the forest. But that means that you need to take care of, I need to take care of, the issues that the forest has. So let's go ahead, um, setting up from scratch. So, two six-sided dice. Those are invisible, but now can be seen. I'm going to go ahead and put that behind my character sheet because that makes a lot more sense. Um, Standard deck playing cards, two jokers. Uh, Obviously, I'm saving it as an audio log. Um, so each time you would like to begin a new scene, draw a card and then find the related prompt inside the book. That has an obstacle which must be faced before you can move forward. So I have two stats. Nice and simple. One of them is clever, and one of them is brave. Clever um, is clever involves thinking. It involves planning. It involves I hate to say plotting, but that's there too. Last week, I very much played it that um, if you have a situation and the fix is to sit down and talk to people about it, that's cleverness. Bravery is immediate, forceful, quick, risky. So if the best option is to yell at someone, try to force them um, to go your way. Uh, Basically, I see cleverness as debate and convincing. Brave is, um, there's no alternatives. This is the way things need to be done. Um, so I have 6 points to distribute between clever and brave. Last week, I went ahead and did 4 with clever because I'm assuming that I would probably do those clever type of things. And 2 points to brave. What this matters is when I draw a card, whatever event is going to happen is going to be easy, tough, or hard. To decide if I succeed or not, I roll a six-sided die. I add the appropriate skill based on how I figure I'm ending the challenge. Um, and if it's easy, then I need a 6. Tough needs a 9. Hard needs a 12. So it is currently impossible for me to succeed at a hard difficulty. Um, if I set both my skills to 3, then I will only succeed on a 6. because it's matching or better than. And of course easy, it's 3 makes it better than a 50-50 chance. Obviously 2 is 5, so 3, 4, 5, 6. um I was strongly thinking of going that way this time around, but on afterthought, I think I'm actually going to go ahead and um, go with the 4 and the 2. So that means that any situation where I need to use bravery, I am going to have what is it? Uh, that really is a 50-50 chance of bravery succeeding at an easy challenge and not quite any chance of it succeeding at a tough challenge. But it also means that a tough encounter will be slightly easier if I can take advantage of my cleverness. Um, I'm not going to lie, I kind of hate approaching this one with too strategic a mind, but that's kind of where role playing games put you. So um so what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to take the deck and I'm going to cut it. Cut. It's just gone ahead and split it beautifully in half for me. I'm going to go ahead and cut this as well. So this is going to be the first half of the play session, give or take. After this is done, we'll go ahead and start shuffling while I talk. Once I go through these experiences, I'm going to reach the first joker. And the first joker is going to be a chance to stop and reflect. It's going to be a chance to go back and try a few of these experiences again. Events. Um, and it'll change the rules a little bit to go with that. So once that's done, um, we're gonna take this part of the deck and put this all together. And that's going to be a number of events before this final Joker shows up and the game ends. Get that nice and shuffled. Okay, pick that up. Go ahead and put the deck up there. The dice are visible. The character sheet is visible. Okay. Um, keeping track. Event generation, facing challenges. So spending wild points. Assume. Thought I started with a wild points, but frankly, I don't remember. So That's fine. Okay, wild points 0. Let's be about it. So here's our first event. This is a 3 of diamonds. One of your hats has been borrowed but not returned. It was a gift from a beloved friend who is due for a visit and would be pleased to see you wearing it. So, this is an easy challenge, obviously. Um, like I said before, I've kind of ruled it that if you need to have a talk with someone and you're willing to sit down and debate and discuss, that's clever. If you just march over to them and lay down the law, as it were, um, that's going to be a brave solution. One of the problems that I experienced last time was that I had all of my points earned were from clever solutions. So I think that I need to risk um, bravery on these these uh easier situations, just so that I don't, you know, just that I learn from my mistakes regarding bravery or my successes as well as cleverness. So that's what we're going to go ahead and do here. So there is a 50-50 chance of success here. Basically, I need to roll a 6. So if I roll a 4 or better, let's go ahead and use this die. Let's go ahead and keep this die where the stream can see it. That is a 1. That is not a good roll. However, I can always try twice. So, if it wasn't clear what my solution for this particular event is to basically go to the person who has borrowed the hat and tell them it is now time to return the hat. That the hat has been in their hands long enough, um, and that I am taking it back. So that is. I mean, for me personally, for social anxiety guy here, that would be absolutely devastating. But okay, and on the second attempt, that was a success. So we got to go ahead and put 3 of diamonds under Brave Solutions. And let's go ahead and put successful cards here. Okay. First event was handled bravely and thoroughly. Second event is a 9 of spades. This is likely to be a tough. Oh god, I'm doing it again. These are clubs. These are clubs. Um, I don't know why that happens sometimes. Okay. This one is a tough one. The river has started running a few degrees warmer, causing fish to migrate elsewhere. A lot of animals are thinking about following them to greener pastures. So, my ideal solution last time would be to get ice or snow or something similar from the appropriate regions to help with these problems. Um, but honestly, I think that it would make a lot more sense to simply search for the problem, search for why the the river is why it's warmer, and find a semi-technological fix for it. I'm going to go ahead and scroll back up quickly. And then I'm going to see that scrolling up was the wrong direction and scroll down. Here we go. So there's the lake. This is the river right here. The likely situation is that we've got some kind of warming problem here. Um, it might be pollution from the village. That's always possible. Um, so I think that if we are clever enough, hint, 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 we can find a solution for this problem. 6 and 4 is 10, so that one was a success. I'll go ahead and add that to the pile here. Clever Solutions, 9 of clubs. I would like to emphasize that that is called a club and not a spade. That also, since I solved a tough problem successfully, that means that I now have my first wild point. And what I really want to do this time around is save up these wild points, because I can use 5 wild points and improve my bravery or my oh no, I'm sorry, 6 wild points to raise my clever skill or my brave skill up by 1, which would make solving the tricky ones less tricky, and obviously the tough ones, I mean. um and obviously if I can get the clever skill to 6, that means that some of the hard events are going to be within my grasp. Ain't no critical hits in this one. Okay, event number 3. Okay, not a hugely challenging one, which is a nice way of saying it will be an easy challenge. If I can find the word diamonds up here. 4. Oh, this is an interesting one. All right. Your feet are always unpleasantly wet. Your shoes leak, and all of your socks need darning, but you have no money to buy new ones. So, the clever solution, again, would be to sit down, analyze, come up with a plan of attack, and then execute. But the brave option in this case would be accept it and move on. Um, and that seems like the most logical solution. So let's see if I am brave enough to tell myself that sometimes wet things happen to wet people. Okay, with a 3 and a 2, that is a 5. So my first attempt has not gone well. Let's go ahead and do our second try. And that is even worse if such things are possible. So that means that the 4 of diamonds is an opportunity for growth. Um, Learning that sometimes, often, usually, you can't just make yourself feel a certain way. Still working on that one personally. A 10 of hearts. So this one is going to be a tough one. Diamonds, spades, and there are hearts. Okay. A beaver's dam floods an area riddled with coyote dens, displacing dozens of young families. Their constant squabbles for territory are getting disruptive. So the brave solution, of course, is to tell them to actually, it really comes back to the wet feet problem. Tell them to suck it up and get along. And based on my own experience with dogs, that's not going to go too well. Admittedly, my dachshunds are stubborn, um, and my Pomeranian is just a little brat. But that's not a good solution in this case. The good solution is basically finding them alternative places. So if we assume that the coyote areas are about there, um, we're going to need to give them more space. Um, I hate to say it, but part of the solution may be to suggest that they maybe the younger packs should find new territory to go after so that they're less encroached upon, because it doesn't seem fair to the older ones, but just as importantly, um, the younger generation should probably be looking to start new families far away from their current families, which is a genetics discussion we will uh, simplify for now with a die roll. And for our first one, we have 4, 5, 6, which is substantially less. Well, not substantially, which is kind of less than the 9 I need for a tough encounter. So we get to try this one more time. And this time, 4 and 4 is 8, which puts this on the list of things to learn about, which in this case is probably that people don't like the idea of having a third party tell them where they're going to live. If only politicians were able to learn that. And I know that there will be attitudes on the other side of that, but in my mind, the people who have lost their territory are uh, more in a position to complain than the people who are losing stolen territory. That's all I have to say about that. 6 of hearts. I cannot remember where the 6 falls in the list, but it does fall higher in the took 6. Tough. Okay. Um. Oh my goodness. We have more water related problems. It has been raining so long and so hard that the river is swollen over its banks. The rushing water tears up ancient trees and washes away fertile soul. Fertile soil. Um Now this obviously requires a clever solution. Um I'm But it's the clever solution to try and force it to be fixed or to be more understanding. Because on the one hand, you can come up with a system to repair what was damaged. But is that clever, or is that brave standing against the change? I think that the clever solution would actually be the path of acceptance. Um, Obviously, there's some ways that you can get the good soil back from the bottom of the river. The trees, if not gone, can be put to new uses. So I think that the clever solution is trying to plan for accepting what has changed and moving on in this case. So yeah, let's go ahead and see how that works. That is a 6, which is not good enough for this situation. I do get a second try. And that time we come up with a 10, which is a wonderful success. Or which is wonderfully a success, depending on how you prefer to say it. 6 of Hearts. That does sound nice. And we are now at a second wild point. So 2 down, 4 to go. However, eventually, oh my goodness. A geyser bursts through the ground, becoming the mouth of a new hot spring. It's everything is water today. Um, the water is oddly saline, and animals become sick when they drink it. So last time I figured that the clever solution was going to be to um, explain, come up with a plan to put up information to help with the explanation, uh, just generally educate and cordon off. Um, I really don't feel any differently. There are advantages to having a hot spring in your area. Um, since we've got a village that where people are, I mean, I hate to say normal people, since in this case the animals are people too, but regular humans. Um, so working with the village to make this an attraction would also cause the animals who are drinking from it to probably be stressed into leaving it alone. So I think that's our cleverest solution right now. 4, 5, 6, 7. The die does not necessarily agree this time, but we can go ahead and try one more time. And unfortunately, that is slightly worse. So this is going to go into that list of learning opportunities that sometimes you can't explain the problem to people, or explaining it doesn't prevent them from making those decisions. Because although the animals got sick from drinking the water, uh, may get some of them to stop. Letting it be is not a solution. All right, our first face card. Now, remember, I am trying to avoid magic under any circumstances. Something ancient and hungry has occupied the sinkhole cavern. It wanders the woods at night, leaving a trail of withered plant life and bleached bones in its wake. Until this successfully resolves, all actions taken at night must use the brave skill. So there is technically nothing saying that um, there's a set night day. Um, it's really just my evaluation of the situation. Um, so I'm just going to go ahead and King of Diamonds, make a note on another piece of paper. Ooh, notepad, obviously. Um, the King of Diamonds actions at night can only use the brave solution. Um, just because of the situation, I'd very much like to use magic to solve that, but I'm going to avoid that. Right. And let's go ahead and put the King of Diamonds under my learning opportunities. Okay. So I need to pay attention to if it looks like an action is happening by day or by night. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. So that is followed up by um, a nice easy one. A plump, tired bear has eaten so many salmon that he no longer fits in his den. The irritable growler is making his neighbors nervous, and he needs a new place to rest. Um, Obviously, brave solutions also include forcing him to go on a run, which should make him too tired to be causing his neighbors problems, or simply um, forcing someone who has a larger cave, um, but is not using all of that to trade, as it were, with the bear, which is an extremely unpleasant idea for whoever gets the new cave, which is the bear's old cave, but um, sometimes that's the way things go. So, according to the dice, 3 and 2, the first attempt does not go well, and the second attempt goes very well. So that is the 3 of spades. I have forced some poor animal to give up their cave so that the bear can have a larger one. Um, it's brave. It's not necessarily kind, but the word witch is sometimes synonymous. Anyway, okay, we're going to have another problem start up, and this is on the spade, so I don't have to go very far. The wind is very angry. It howls all day and night, whipping up clouds of dust and stripping trees of their foliage. It seems to intensify when it wants to interrupt conversations. Gain an additional wild point once you discover the cause of the wind's frustration and placate it. Okay, so King of Spades. Um, Conversations are difficult because of the wind. Gain 1 extra wild point if this is later solved. Okay. Um Obviously right now there is no brave or clever way of dealing with this. 6 plus the 4 would be 10, which is way too small. So we'll go ahead and put this on the learning opportunity list. And this onto the opportunities pile. So just to check, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 4. So everything is properly being tracked. That is lovely. All right, let's go ahead and see what's next. This is a Queen of Clubs. A forest fire cuts a swath of destruction through the woods and the little cottage you call home. Rumors run rampant. The Fae blames you and your candles for the incident and put a minor curse on you until the situation is successfully resolved. You cannot use fire. Okay, that's going to be inconvenient for some more brave solutions, but this one is not nearly as bad as it could be. Alrighty then. What's next? Hopefully it'll give me an opportunity for some cleverness. No, it's going to give me an opportunity for some more long-term problems. An enormous golden carp is tearing up the bottom of the lake, muddying the clear water. Villagers have set traps to catch it, which is causing local fish to get caught in abandoned nets. Um, and they're having problems finding food, which was a pre existing problem because of the heating of the river. But right now, there's not going to be much chance of succeeding in convincing people. So, number one, clean up after yourself. Number two, um, find find a more permanent solution to the carp. Uh, at least use boats. Um, yeah. Under the circumstances, giant carp in the lake. Um, gain 1 skill point if this can ever be solved. Okay, so there is a rule that I get disadvantage, which means I roll both of these, and then take the lower result. So this whole list of things is going to fall into um, that stressful situation, to my mind. Oh dear, oh dear. Jack of clubs now. Carnivorous vines that feed during the day and go dormant at night infiltrate your woods. You must tread carefully and be aware of your surroundings until this situation is successfully resolved. Problem solved during daylight hours must use the clever skill. Um, Jack of clubs. Carnivorous vines in the daytime mean only clever solutions by day. Redundant sounding. Jack of heart, Jack of clubs. Okay. A 9 of hearts. Something potentially solvable. The road that runs through the forest is in bad repair. The mud is so bad that the people have been cutting new trails. The sudden increase in traffic is disturbing wildlife. I completely understand, given how many water related problems we've been running into, why there would be muddy roads. The solution, of course, is negotiation. Stop making new roads when you just need to do a little extra, use a little extra elbow grease to fix up the existing ones. Um, we had the elder trees, which can be used for supplies now. Not necessarily the most dignified way of keeping them working for us, as it were. But yeah, the village should be able to stay on the old roads. It's just a matter of finding a way to fix them. Um, we know we have beavers. We can get the wildlife to assist if they can trust me as the local witch. Um, so there's plenty of ways that um, it's kind of laziness on the village's part to refuse to just keep working around the damaged roads instead of just fixing them up. So cleverly getting them to work on repairing what's already there is the best plan. And the game most heartedly agrees with me on that. Okay, so we can go ahead and put that over there. And that gives me a third wild point. So no complaints there. And needless to say, using flamethrowers of some kind is not an option here. The nine of diamonds. A peevish goose seems determined to ruin your day. Keep stealing your things and pulling plants out of your herb gardens. Okay. I'm trying to find solutions that are different from last times. But it was such a good solution. Um, Clever solutions usually mean extra work. And I can think of a lot of reasons, given what we've seen and experienced so far, why a local goose might be peevish, is the word being used. Um, my suggestion last time was basically to build a secondary herb garden so that it can rip through the plants at its heart's content, while putting the additional herb garden in a more difficult place for it to access. And that really, I like that idea, and I don't see a problem with it. So let's go ahead and work on building out a second herb area. 4 and 4 is 8. Let's do our second attempt. And that is a 1. So that is most definitely not successful. I think it's safe to say that the goose got wise to what I was trying to do and has rejected the truce I offered. An ace of diamonds. A boy from a nearby village begins digging for gold in the banks of the sacred stream. Whenever he goes home with little lumps of yellow metal in his pocket, more people follow him back. Until this is fully addressed, the water runs brackish instead of clear. Um, we are having nothing but water-related problems. Ace of diamonds. Water is brackish instead of clear. Which is not going to help with some of the problems that we've been doing. Okay. I know that I'm not in a position to come up with a clever solution just now, so we'll go ahead and accept that as a problem for the moment. Although goodness knows, a magical solution would be far more enjoyable. Turn all the gold into pyrite. Is that it? The fool's gold. 10 of diamonds. Ace of diamonds. All right. 10 of diamonds. A new species of mushroom spreads rapidly across the forest that explodes with a loud bang and a plume of white dust when touched, which is leaving the forest very loud. And of course, that's going to also mean the spores are spreading. I've remained convinced that putting together a hunting party, as it were, armed with wet cloths to cover and squelch the banging is or the spore release is the best plan, even if that was last week's solution. So the question is, can I convince the village to help me out with this? First try didn't go well, and the second try didn't go well. So no. Okay. 11. That is 11. Perfect. And this is 5. Tragically, that is also correct. Okay. The 6 of diamonds. So, the little spore people who live inside the sinkhole are feeling unwell. That's not too surprising given the monster that is rising out of the sinkwell at night, if I'm remembering correctly. Yeah. So I do have the ability to make a medicine that can help them, but the key ingredient is hard to find. There is no brave way to do this. Obviously, I can look to my teachings and my notes and my books to find out if there's another ingredient that can be used. Maybe there's an alternate potion to try and use. Working with the traders and the villagers to see if we can find a access to the missing ingredient. Fortunately, this isn't something that would be required to happen at night. So, can any of those work? 4 and 4 is 8. It cannot. So, despite my best efforts, I was not able to find a workaround or a good supply of the substance. King of spades. King of clubs. Again, that is a club, not a spade. Gracious. Oh, this makes things very interesting. The sun is tired and doesn't want to rise ever again. He dims his light and hides out on the horizon all day, claiming to be feeling unwell. Until this is resolved and the sun is convinced to climb the sky again, the forest is plunged into an endless night. If I allow this to happen, I will not be in a position to actually gain any more wild points. I think this one is serious enough that I have to break my promise to myself. Um, and even worse, I think I'm going to have to uh, do a mind control type thing, which is fairly hideous. Um, so yeah, not the way I would like to solve it, but I cannot be using brave for everything under the circumstances. I regret that. A five of clubs. A lonely bull moose spends his days pining after a unicorn, but the noble cloven hoofed beauty doesn't seem to notice he exists. This would be a fantastic opportunity for um, a brave solution, but unfortunately, uh, he's spending his days pining, and moose are not, to the best of my knowledge, nocturnal. Are moose nocturnal? Um, no, moose are not nocturnal. So this has to be a clever solution. Um, I still hate that I cannot think of a solution that doesn't involve saying, yeah, um, you don't belong together. That's not natural. That goes up against, maybe that would be the brave solution. Um, Matchmaking, or at least getting them together to talk despite the screaming wind, um, is the cleverest way of doing things, with the hopes that maybe they will see something in each other that either causes the moose to decide on his own that it's not a good idea, or the unicorn to see the beauty in mooses. Yeah, I think that's probably our solution. It's just to find them a way to get together, which was apparently the right idea. Um, it's a shame that I have to put this into the clever column, but that is still the correct, or the only choice I have. Five of hearts. There you are. A new flower has started growing in the forest. When the wind blows, it scatters a sleep inducing pollen. The forest is covered in tired villagers and animals. Um, and the wind blows constantly because of the wind from the King of Spades. Well, as we know, the best solution for something like this is to wear masks, which is one of the hardest things to get people to do. Um, Obviously, I can't convince the wind to blow a different direction because I already have problems with that. Um, Destroying the flower seems less appropriate than it did with the mushrooms. I think transplanting them would be the best solution. Um, Possibly at the bottom of a natural cliff or somewhere lower. Because of everything that's going on, I'm definitely going to say this is a stressful situation. So I'm going to roll both die and use the lower one. So two and four is six. So that was an acceptable solution. Not necessarily the best long term, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. The three of clubs, another easy fix. A pair of star-crossed lovers come to you for advice. The tortoise wants to take things slow. The hare wants to rush into a serious relationship. Um, I have to teach a tortoise and a hare about compromise, don't I? But that is really it. Yeah, it's all about compromise in this situation. Um, Finding a middle route, making sure that they understand why both of them are reacting the way they are. Um, Obviously, this is going against nature, so I'm going to go ahead and put this one down as a stressful situation. But seven is acceptable. Eight, six, eight. Yes. Okay, Jack of Diamonds. An extremely large swarm of caterpillars have invaded the forest, consuming everything fresh and green. The birds refuse to eat the bitter tasting larvae or the brightly colored butterflies they transform into. Once the situation is resolved, add a point to one of your skills. Jack of Diamonds. Um, there are no leaves in the trees. There's no green in the whole forest. Gain one extra wild point if this is later solved. So yeah, that can go into the learning experience. Pile. 10 of spades. A flock of crows are running a protection racket, demanding treats in exchange for warning prey of oncoming predators. Some animals are getting hungry. That's that's an interesting one. Obviously, capturing or chasing off the crows would be the brave choice, but ignoring the other problems with that, it's not going to get me anywhere. As ridiculous as it feels for me to be doing this, The solution is helping the predators figure out new ways of hunting. Um, they're probably a little soft here when it comes down to it, and could use additional ideas in how to, well, obviously, for starters, keep out of the crow's field of vision. Um, team up to ensure that even if the crows were to warn about one situation, another situation is on standby. Teach the various predators to work together. One group is a distraction. It definitely can be taught. I'm a little nervous about me being the one to teach them, but it's the cleverest solution by far. And the game seems to agree. So we'll go ahead and add the 10 of spades to our clever solutions list. And that is a third wild point for me. Seven of clubs. Very productive bees, have built a super colony in the forest. Their queen claims the right to rule the forest. The fairy folk refuse to pay tribute, and a tiny war breaks out. Yeah, the Fae folk is not going to be a tiny war. The brave solution, of course, is to give one side an advantage over the other. So negotiation is the only option, the only clever option. Going to be dealing with two very proud individuals, so coming to a compromise is not going to be easy. I'm going to take that into consideration and give myself disadvantage on this. Six and a two, and no good. I don't think a battle of that type is going to be. It has to be through negotiation for me, unless I claim that all the fights are happening at night. But bravery is not my strong point. Queen of Spades. A swarm of overprotective wasps have sworn themselves to service, refusing to believe a hedge witch can take care of themselves. Your ego is compromised. Until this is successfully resolved, reduce your brave skill by 1 point. Okay. Queen of Spades. Protective wasps are causing me to lose a point of bravery. Queen of Spades. Right into here it goeth. The King of Hearts. The moon is rightfully proud of her beautiful face, but she has started shining so bright at night it always feels like daytime. Even the sun is starting to take notice. Until this is successfully resolved, you have trouble sleeping, which reduces your clever skill by 1 point. Not much I can do about that. Why is that bolded? Silly. Go ahead and put that up here. King of Hearts. The moon shining as bright as the sun is making it hard to sleep, losing a point of cleverness. So that is annoying. And there is our first Joker. Okay. You come across a reflecting pool in the forest. Look at your mirror image in the water. This journey has been challenging, but the person you are looking at is braver and more clever than you previously imagined. You're a hedge witch. You have what it takes to make the world a better place. Plunge back into the forest, retrace your steps, and find the task you left undone. This is going to be hard and you may not succeed, but there's something to be learned from trying again. Examine your list of opportunities for growth and select up to 6 scenarios that you are interested in revisiting right now. Count the number of times you have failed up until this moment, divide that number in half, rounding up. You may now make this many attempts to resolve this group of revisited events. When you are done, take some time to appreciate how hard you have worked and how far you have come. From now on, you may now use your wild points to physically invigorate yourself. Each time you spend a wild point, you may make 2 skill attempts to revisit any failed challenge. If you fail a reattempt, add a point to one of your skills to a per game maximum of 4 additional points per skills. If you continue to revisit events after you are fully leveled up, you may choose to roll 2d6 and use the higher number and the relevant skill. Okay. The first thing I need to do is to deal with some of these tough situations and try them again. So we'll go ahead and put the Joker there. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that is exactly what they're looking. If I can do that, then I can start improving my skills, which means I can go back and start looking at some of these face cards that are causing me extra problems. So, I have 16 failures. So I can try 8 times to fix all of these problems. That's a lot. Okay. So we'll start with the 10 of hearts. This was the attempt to my plan here was to go ahead and redistribute area and work on convincing some of the younger groups to uh, move away from their existing um, homes so that they can find less local mates, as it were, which feels like a good idea anyway. So that was a clever. Let's go ahead and roll that one. Um, 2. Okay, so that was a success. We'll go ahead and move the 10 of hearts to the clever solutions and pick up a wild point. 7 of hearts. This was the geyser. We were hoping to make a tourist attraction out of it, which would aid the village and also keep the animals naturally at bay. Wait, what do I need? 9, 8, 7, 6. I have to get a natural 6. And I did not. So that remains a failure. Okay. 9 of diamonds. This was the goose, and I was hoping to give it its own little spot so that it could tear up things to its heart's content. That seems to have succeeded on a later discussion. So let's go ahead and move that over. Oops. And okay, 10 of diamonds. This was the mushrooms, which we were going to do a hunt to uh, carefully deal with the spores with moistened uh, cloths. Five, six, seven, eight. Let's try. Okay, so that remained too difficult to suggest. Okay, the little spore people. So we're trying again to find an alternate ingredient for the one that we can't find. There we go. Okay, so that is our 6 wild points. So I'm going to go ahead and use that to immediately get my cleverness back up to 4. So that leaves me with a 7 clubs. Let's actually find out what that story was. And that's the war between the Fae and the Bees. There has to be something that the Fae don't want to pay tribute, but the bees have honey, and the Fae would definitely be willing to trade. And if we can turn it from a combative situation to a trade situation, um, everyone knows that even if there's a slight unbalance in how the trade goes, it's always better to trade than to try and rattle sabers to make yourself look big. And the game seems to believe that better than certain realities do. Okay, so seven of clubs, six of diamonds was not properly moved over. Nine of diamonds, yeah, we've got it. Okay. Can I ask you to sort these? Lovely. Thank you. Okay, so we've made it to the midway of the deck without casting too many spells. I have one wild point remaining. What was the 10 of diamonds? I really hate that I haven't solved this one, so I'm going to go ahead and use my wild point to attempt this one again. So I'm back to only having two chances. And this time I was able to succeed. So there we go. That one ended up being a freebie. Okay, so now I have 14, which means this should be 12. Oh, I didn't move the one that I just fixed up. Okay. So that's where we are at the midway point. 8 of diamonds. An abandoned cottage in the woods has become a meeting spot for local bandits. They keep trying to recruit you for a big heist. So I feel like the clever thing to do would be to act the stooge if my wording is right there, which I don't guarantee. Um, Play along, offer to help, get the constabulary or the King's Guard or whoever is the main policing force. Carefully, so they don't suspect me, because I'm not going to be able to help that much if I'm dead. So let's go ahead and see what happens. So we are at 4, so I can do a 5 or a 6 again. Okay, so that is a opportunity for growth. No, it's not. That's just a... Wait, no, that's an opportunity for growth. What am I saying? Okay, it doesn't get me a wild point, and I don't get to go ahead and spend a wild point to try and redo it. Also, that would be a night thing, so I would be required to be brave about it, so that absolutely wouldn't be happening anyway. A 2 of spades. A sparrow's nest has been picked apart by an absent-minded pigeon. The birds are all very annoyed with one another, and the local flocks are all a twitter. Um, Boy, I wish that I could do something brave there. The the nest can be repaired The pigeon can be provided better maps about where other people's things are. This is ultimately a clever fix. Uh, 5. Yes, that's well and truly good. Unfortunately, not a nighttime event. 6 of spades. Oh, nice. Lantern lights keep leading village children into the woods at night. Sometimes the kids return with perfect twins who share their memories and faces. Um, so number one is research. Find out if there's any inherent danger of these twins in these twins. Number two, of course, is posting signs, making, uh, reminding the kids that the lantern lights are not their friends. Um, Probably finding, but this is at night. Um, so I would need to have a brave solution, which under the current circumstances, I do not. So I'm going to have to call that one lost by default. Five of diamonds. A dramatic possum have started a theater company, but he keeps casting himself in every starring role. Play attendance is dropping and his feelings are hurt. Um, well, possums are nocturnal. We can assume that the theater is going on at night. So this is a brave one. And the brave solution is something about screw your feelings. Oh, I am going to go ahead and try that again because I need to get um, I need to make sure that my brave score is over 14. Right now, of course, it's 6. So let's go ahead and that would make it 11, which is a little closer. So that was flip, not roll. 5, 6. So that time around, it was successful. What did I just do? 6 or 5 of diamonds. Okay, take that off this list. So I need to. What did I say? 6 and 5 is 11. I need just a couple more points there. I need to find a couple more nighttime easy events. The Ace of Spades. The cosmic tree has been struck by lightning, causing significant damage to its branches. A star winks out each time a leaf falls to the ground. Until this is successfully resolved, magic costs 2 wild points, and you must double your magical solution score at the end of the game. Well, I currently have no wild points, so spell casting was never an option. But that double the magic solution score definitely is problematic. 6 of clubs. The deer mice are tired of living at the bottom of the food chain. They have armed themselves with briarthorn spears and acorn armor. The owls would like to parley. That would be a nighttime thing, so that would, by definition, require a brave response, um, which I can't offer. Okay, I forgot to put down the aces page. Oh dear. The Queen of Hearts. My understanding is that she made some tarts on a summer day. The fairy folk are throwing a party and have left gates to their realm open all over the forest. Since the doors are hidden, folk keep slipping in and out of the realm and getting lost. Until this is successfully resolved, reduce your clever skill by 1 point. Oh, you. So that is back down to 3. 4 of hearts. A cranky snapping turtle has become a one-man army defending the waters of the woods. It's a big job, and the travel time between river and ponds is exhausting. So that means that we're going to be trying and helping him, I believe. If I can get him to go after the carp, that should keep him distracted. Um, our snapping turtles. Nocturnal. Yes, they are primarily nocturnal, which means I can go ahead and try exactly that. So the hope is that I can convince him to focus on fighting the carp and hitting the roll button instead. And that was successful. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put the Four of Hearts as a brave solution. But now this is 26, so ugh. 8 of clubs. I have the Spellcraft Fan Club thinks you can solve all of their problems. Anytime a member has a minor setback, the group comes to you looking for a magical solution. Um, I mean, I could always wave generally at the forest and go, does this look like a place where magic has done anything to fix anything? Um, but yeah, it's really going to be a matter of diplomacy, a matter of as much as they may enjoy spellcasting or spellcraft, um, it shouldn't be used for everything. Stories of why not, obviously, are available to them. Let's go ahead and see how this goes. And again, we are only able to work on a 6 because of the variety of things bringing my cleverness down. So, alas, that goes into the learning. The 5 of spades. A tinker gnome keeps leaving. Yeah, I just lost my microphone. Am I back? There we go. There we go. All fixed. Fortunately, I got an alert on that one. I can't think of an excuse to figure out why this would only be necessary at night. So, um, I mean, this was kind of an easy one for me to explain. Figure out where they went is cleverness. So, that's 4, and that's 4 again. Oh, yuck! That's an embarrassing one. Why are you bolded? So silly. 7 of diamonds. A traveling salesman has been selling fake remedies to local villagers. When he is caught, he claims that he bought them from you, and a lot of people believe him. Um, Once again, diplomacy, explanation. See if I've got the cleverness to convince them, which is unlikely because I'm tired and my feet are wet. Three of Hearts. The voles have expanded their network of tunnels below your home. They didn't dig deep enough, and they get mad when you accidentally step through their ceiling. Um. Okay, this is definitely a brave type situation because voles are nocturnal, and frankly, the solution is to yell at the little rats that if they're going to use my house as a ceiling, then they should accept that I live in the house. That's two. That's three. Okay. Due to the time, I think I'm going to have to accept that I need to call it here. And tragically, um, when we do the scoring, if either result is a negative number, refer to the fade to the mundane. So I have 3 and 3 and 5 and 4, which is 15. The king of clubs is 14. Um, so if it weren't for the problem with the ace of spades, um, I would have been okay. But unfortunately, I did decide to use the spell that one time. And because of that, I get the same neutral ending I did last time, where I have managed to lessen the flow of magic available to me. So it's hard to give up on magic. It's nice to have a catch all solution to your problems. And apparently, I need to figure out how to stop that. But until then, I will continue to be Screaming Wyvern. This has been my solo role playing game Thursday, and I will see you next week for whatever happens next week. And as always, remember to be one of the good ones because there's way too many of the bad. Good night.